Hey YouTubers, Starfire here. Raven couldn't join us tonight, so I will be doing the Legends review on my own. It is Season 5, Episode 4, Slay Anything. So I actually really enjoyed this episode, more so than last week's, just because, I liked last week's episode. I said that I did, because I loved the 40s, like the 1940s, story, because I love that time period, but there were certain things about it that we had issues with, specifically Ava and Barad and stuff, mostly Raven having issues with those, but I did love the theme of the episode and the time period it was in, and tonight's episode was in the 80s and early 2000s, so that was also really awesome because I love the 80s. And you got to hear all the music and see all the clothes, and it was just really fun, and I liked it. And Barad was actually useful in this episode. Who would have thought, right? And I know she said that, Raven said that even if he becomes useful and has character growth, she's still not going to care about him because she just doesn't like him. And I was surprised by the fact that he was useful in this episode, because he legitimately used or took advantage of the amulet bracelet and used it against the killer. So yeah, go Barad for that particular thing anyway. It was great to see Nora again. I really like her and Ray, and I like what she did for Freddy in helping him with his, with him getting bullied and treated the way that he did, which caused the whole slasher thing that was going on. It was legitimately an 80s slasher movie, an 80s slasher movie, and it was hilarious. And Ava was so into it because she was like, oh my gosh, Freddie Myers was ranked number 5 on my podcast that I did, and everything. So her and Sarah and Mick and Ray and Nate all went back to 2004 for the class of 1989 reunion to try to fix what happened with Freddie. And then, because Nora has the fairy godmother powers, she was sent back to when Freddie was going to the prom in the 80s and had to help him. So, yeah, and I think that Zahari is starting to still remember a little bit more, because, she was trying to get the doors open on the ship to, go out of the room she was in, and she, was able to hack the encryption that Gideon had put on it, and, she had a flashback of, remembering about it. So she's remembering certain things. Yeah. I liked when Ray and Nate went back to 1989 and their clothing, and Ray had a really cool teal colored tie that was awesome. And yeah. So I just liked that, Nora really helped Freddy to realize who he was, and that he didn't need, yeah, he was upset, but he's more than that, and he doesn't need to go after them and try to kill them. And it was actually his mom that was the one going around doing it, because she couldn't lose Freddy, because at the beginning of the episode they showed him getting executed in 2004, and so Freddie Myers was back, but it was an encore, and it was his mom. And so they had to try to stop her. And that's when Barad used the ring, with the smoke on, not the ring, the bracelet, with the amulet to stop her. So yeah. I'm still not really liking him that much, but he was a lot better this episode than he was last episode. he actually did something and he was more useful to the team. So, like, I'm not saying that I'm like totally on board with him and that I love him now. I'm just stating that compared to last week's episode, he was a lot better and he actually had more to do and had, you know, and wasn't just all about like doing drugs. So, yeah. And Zahari was like, I might stick around for a while. So yay! Even though she's not our Zahari, I'm still happy just having any version of Zahari right now because I like her character. So, yeah. And then like at the end, when they had solved it and the, like the ones that weren't with Sarah and Ava at the high school, weren't with Sarah, Ava, and Mick at the high school, came to the high school and they're like, now this is a real reunion. And then they like were taking all the prom pictures that they took back in, like, you know, that they always take a prom. And Heaven is a Place on Earth by Belinda Carlisle was playing, and I love that song, so I was just like, woo! But yeah, like, I liked last week's episode for, you know, the reasons that I already stated. But this one was really fun too, because I also love the 80s, and I feel like this one was more fun. Like, I feel like there was more for some of the characters to do. Like, Ava and Sarah were teamed up, and Barad was doing something and helping them, and it was just like, it was a lot better use of the characters, I feel, and like, it just, I don't know, I feel like it worked a little bit better. But I liked the theme of last week's episode, so yeah. So yeah, like, it was a good episode. Oh, and also, when they were taking the prom pictures, they're like, wait, Sarah's like, wait, where's Mick? And then they show him, and he's like with this girl who, like, he remembered from high school, and they were like making out. It was so funny. But yeah, like, I liked seeing Nora again, and like, Ava was so happy to be able to be a part of it and like help, and it was cute at the end when they were dancing because Sarah was like, you're my final girl, and they like bumped foreheads, so it was so cute. So yeah, like, I don't really have anything that I dislike necessarily about it. I'm sure that if Raven was here, she'd have some things to say. Maybe some rants, maybe some good things, I don't know. But I do think in terms of just characters, this week's was a lot better than last week's. But I loved the costumes and the dress and the theme of, and everything of last week, because I like absolutely adore the 1940s and the whole detective, like, film noir vibe. So yeah, I loved that about it. But this one was a lot better, I think. And then next week it is Marie Antoinette, so that should be interesting. France back in the way back Versailles. So yeah, I feel like I'm just gonna be repeating myself if I continue, but I liked this episode, and yeah, what are your guys' thoughts? What did you like and what did you dislike about it? Do you have any predictions going forward about Zahari or about anything else? Yeah, well, oh, and I also loved the part when Nora came back as the fairy godmother, and, or came back, and she changed into her regular clothes, and Ray was gonna, like, you know, just, like, have a nice time with her, and, he was like, Gideon, dim the lights and play You're the Inspiration by Chicago, and then he turns around, and, Nora's asleep, and he's like, Gideon, don't play Chicago, and she's like, I wasn't going to, Mr. Palmer. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. people really dislike Chicago, but they're such a great band and they have such great songs. I guess that's it. So until next time, always stay true to who you are.